too effective. This hungry sea turtle mistakes him for a delicious algae snack. With nosy neighbors moving into the area, it's time to move out again. Finding his place in the world is proving difficult. No wonder he looks so grumpy. Too uncomfortable. Too loud. Too busy. He's going to have to move even further away from the central reef. He's much easier to spot when he's on the move, not being the most elegant nor inconspicuous of swimmers. He gets around by awkwardly flapping his large pectoral fins and wriggling his not-so-streamlined body. While moving, his camouflage is hardly a defense mechanism at all. But he has another ace up his sleeve. That mohawk of his is more than just his lack of conformity to society. It's actually a weapon. Concealed within his dorsal fin are 13 needle-like spines, and they're deadly. Each spine is not only capable of piercing flesh, but delivering highly toxic venom, making him one of the deadliest creatures in the marine world. Finally, the perfect spot. Or not. Perhaps a little too close to shore. With his cover blown again, he hasn't had a chance to feed. And it's only when feeding that we see the true purpose of his camouflage. This looks promising. Not an intruder or rival reef stonefish in sight. Far from the razzle-dazzle of the inner reef, it's a bit of a ragtag neighborhood, but it'll do. His patience has finally paid off, and this school of mullet is in for a big surprise. Lying motionless on the sea floor, he's practically undetectable. As an ambush predator, all he has to do is wait. Biding his time, he launches that big frown into action, swallowing the fish whole. His camouflage serves him well, because without it, a mug like that would have any potential lunch swimming for the hills. A full belly at last. Though unable to remove his permanent scowl, he's probably smiling on the inside. Now that he's finally found his Shangri-La. The oceans of our planet are a perilous place for all creatures big and small. And to call these places home, the strange creatures living there have evolved ways to cope, even if it's at the cost of their appearance. From big heads, to boggle eyes, to snaggle teeth, these creatures have all adapted to the complexities of underwater life. Laughing in the face of conventional beauty, the design of these underwater creatures just goes to show beauty really is only fin deep.
Snake!
It's the beginning of the wet season, and the team at Lataka Safaris
Make it quick, make it quick.
are stretched to the limit.
There it goes.
While Grant works to keep the business above water, Brent is trying to fulfill the dreams of a demanding group of guests.
I didn't come here to see birds.
And it may be the most difficult bunch of animals to find yet.
All right,
front of us! My brother and I are safari guides in Africa.
It's a job full of everyday risks and infinite rewards.
Because we get to take our guests into one of the wildest places on Earth.
It's the start of the wet season in this part of Africa, and change is in the air.
Been through 7 months of dry, hot conditions, and now suddenly, bang, the rains are on us and everything has changed.
As animals begin to fan out across the lush landscape, it challenges the crew to explore uncharted routes and be ready for the unexpected.
You've got no idea what you're going to find, what challenges you're going to face, and what animals you're going to see.
Right now, adaptability is more important than ever, especially when a guide falls sick just hours before a new group of guests arrive.
Will you be able to make it tonight so we can get another guide in tomorrow?
No, Grant, I'm very, very sick.
Okay, Nkosi, stand by. We'll let you know what to do.
What's happening?
Nkosi says he's got malaria. He's picking up those people with that birder. He's not going to make it through the day, and with malaria we can't take any chances, so we're going to have to replace him. Are you happy to do it?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'm ready.
Yes! Right, off on safari again.
You sure you're going to go? Do you remember how to get there?
Well, let me go and tell my wife first.
I've just done a ton of time in the bush. I'm really glad it's going to be Brent and not me this time.
It's always tough stepping in the last minute because you're not really mentally in the game yet. The good thing is that Nkosi's guests haven't yet arrived. We're not actually changing the guide, so that does make it a bit easier.
Over the next 3 days, Brent knows what he's got to do. Keep the guests safe and give them the time of their lives.
The cool thing about flying into the bush, you're just flying right into the rainfront. It's pretty stunning.
Savannah's dad, Mark, is excited as well.
I'm really looking forward to spending this time with my daughter and having this experience totally out of our comfort zones.
Hi, Savannah.
Hi, Savannah. Nice to meet you, Brent.
Brent.
Hello, Mark. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
All right, if you follow me around this way, I'll take you around to the vehicle.
Oh, wow.
It's always important at the beginning of a safari to gauge what your guests actually want, or what do they want to see. Okay, let's do a little poll and find out who wants to see what. Nina, we'll start with you.
I'd like to see a cheetah.
Wow, start right up there.
I love all the big cats, but also one of the reasons I'm here is definitely to see the leopards.
Cheryl?
I want to see a lion.
Easier than a cheetah. Finn?
Lion as well.
A lion as well. How about you, Savannah?
I'd love to see lion cubs.
Lion cubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. These guests want to see lion cubs and leopards, and that's going to be really tough to deliver.
In the dry season, herbivores gather at watering holes, and the predators follow. So all the animals are going to the same few spots, but as the season changes, the delta fills up with water, and tall grasses spring up everywhere, allowing the animals to roam far and wide.
This time of year, our job is a little bit harder because we have to find the same amount of animals in much more challenging territory.
Brent knows he has just 3 days to deliver big cat sightings, and the clock is ticking.
Brent, what's that bird?
It's a hammerkop. Afrikaans for hammerhead. Got a head like a hammer.
Unmistakable with dull brown plumage and backward projecting crest.
One of the great things about the wet season, there are plenty of birds. They migrate from Europe and North Africa and winter here for almost 6 months.
There are hundreds of thousands of birds and nearly 400 species. So Nick, the bird watcher, he's completely happy.
You know, I like birds now. Yeah, lilac-breasted rollers, our favorites. Abundant here in the Okavango. And I like the darter, who swims underwater and spearfishes. The African fish eagle weighs 2.5 kilos. It's really green and it's beautiful. Good for birds.
I'm not really much of a bird person.
But I don't want to stop for every bird that we see out here.
Keeping everyone happy when everyone's not on the same page as to what they want to see and what they want to do really makes my job a lot tougher.
To make sure everyone has a good time, Brent is taking the group to the eastern edge of the Delta's Moremi Game Reserve for a 3-day safari. They'll make camp in an area known as Mohoto. 10 miles from their destination, they see their first big mammal.
There's a whole train of them coming.
Yeah, really. It's just one after another.
Lovely herd of impala.
These antelopes are so plentiful, they're on the menu of most predators in the Delta. During the dry season, impalas survive by changing their menu from grass to leaves. Now, with water everywhere, the grass is high, making any predators stalking these impalas difficult to spot.
One of the best ways to find predators is to follow their prey.
Just ahead, a blacksmith lapwing is agitated by something.
I hear this bird alarm calling, and there's a good chance that this means there's a predator in the area. So I turn around and just make sure that everyone's keeping their eyes peeled.
There's a snake just right back here.
Spitting cobra.
Yeah.
Well spotted, Mark. Crikey. It's got his hood up nicely now, look. Looks beautiful.
The Mozambique spitting cobra expands the ribs in its neck to form a hood when it feels threatened. The hood is evolved to make its head appear bigger and scarier to a potential attacker.
You can jump off if you want.
No, I'm okay.
This cobra spits its venom with deadly accuracy. It tracks the shine of a potential attacker's eyeballs and shoots directly in the face.
You don't want to get too much closer because it's capable of spitting about 2 meters. If that venom gets into your eye, it's cytotoxic, so it destroys the tissue. You can, if it's not treated, it can cause blindness.
Have you ever been bitten or
I've been spat in the eye by them before, yeah.
in the eye?
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple of times.
The cobra doesn't generally make it onto many wish lists in the Okavango.
Snakes are probably my worst. I don't really want to come across any snakes.
They've seen some interesting species this morning, but the big cats remain elusive.
It's still early. We've still got 2.5 days of the safari, so I'm not particularly worried. There's still time to deliver.
Now it's time to put down some roots.
Hello, Mazar.
That's awesome. Woo.
Camp is ready and waiting. It'll be home for the next 3 days.
All right, we've got your shower over here. The staff will fill this with hot water anytime you want.
Yeah, hair. My hair is going to take up 2 buckets.
In that case, we'll bring you an extra bucket just to do your hair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're going to survive.
Yeah.